When you face certain issues in life, you will try to find things that you can relate to, something that understands what you have been through, and something that can change how you see yourself or your outlook on life. Life can sometimes be hard, so you try to find something that to help you see if it could change your life. This is what Asper Kanojo, or in English, that's my atypical girlfriend, taught me as we explore how a girl who is faced with many challenges in her life tries to find a certain spark for her to live. Asper Kanojo is written by Soichi Hajimoto and drawn by Renji Morida. They created a series that literally broke me multiple times while reading this, and to this day is one of my most favorite series of all time. When looking at the story, it all began with a guy named Yokoi who lived in a small apartment. Yokoi is just your average guy. He has nothing to achieve and he just doesn't want to be seen in the open, and all he does is just spend these days in that small room only to write manga until one day, by the door, he met this strange girl. She was younger than him, but she had this deep and sharp glare and this aura where you just can't tell what exactly she's thinking. She looked up to him and she said her name was Megami Saito, and she came to meet him because she is his biggest fan of one of his work. She loved his earliest work about a manga, a school kid being bullied, and she traveled a long distance to meet him because she just loved it so much and how relatable it was for her. He was struck with confusion at first. He didn't exactly know what to do, especially how she found out where he lived. That was really scary for him. He invited her in though and spent time learning about her. As the chapter progresses, they ate food. Yokoi had to go work, in which he made rounds to check on her. She was just outside waiting for him. Then later on, she didn't exactly plan to go home, so she made a phone call to her mum, and she left that phone call angry because she didn't care about her father. She just clearly has some issues with family and that, so she stayed with him overnight. So by next morning, he woke up to see her wrist slit and bleeding, and it turns out it was an attempted suicide. What he learned during their conversation is Saito has ASD, which is short for autism spectrum disorder. So she has a disability that makes her struggle to interact and communicate with people. She doesn't exactly understand how to read people or herself, and she has faced issues because of it, with family, with friends, with everything. She just went through countless trauma in her young life. She just couldn't bear life anymore. She has attempted multiple times but failed. The reason she tried to do it that night was because even though it was probably the best day in her entire life, she had anxiety in her heart for what's about to happen if she leaves. Yokoi couldn't leave her like this, so as the story progresses, she lives with him and faces the issues Saito gives him. As we continue reading through the chapters, he sees how Saito acts around certain elements and tries to find a way to help her avoid any damage to herself or others. He builds up an understanding of what her disability is and how he can exactly help Saito to cope. Being the victim to bullying and abuse is a horrible thing to witness and feel. Saito faced many problems that she can't control herself, yet she has to face the consequences. To her, Yokoi was a hero, someone who understands her and hopes he would hear her issues and save her from constant suffering. This series has showed us the good moments, the bad moments, the sad moments, and the moments that will break you and shed a tear or two. Personally, I've shed a few tears more than that, but it's a representation of living a life where you are different from other people. Different in a way that people will point out harshly and make you feel inferior. But it's also a message to say how there can be one person who would help you. One person who will listen to your horror and save you from the constant pain. Whether it's a classmate, family member, or hell, even a complete stranger. There will always be someone you can find one day and they will help you. Now, the art style relates to a human level, especially the surrealism of metaphors to show the way the character thinks or how they develop. It also knows how to emphasize on a emotional level where they know how deep each character is feeling. The one thing I do like is it's not mainly focused around the main goal. We see different events of other characters suffering with their own issues, and I think it's deep when you see two characters interact because of how much they understand each other and how much they relate. They may not be the people who can save you, but it's good to find people who can help understand the burdens you're carrying. Now, of course, it's titled as Kanojo, which means girlfriend. So we see how their chemistry builds up through the series, and each chapter shows how determined Yokoi is to help Saito, and how much Saito wants to change, so she can listen to what she needs to hear. It's okay to live. Now, I just want to touch on the current state of Asper Kanojo, where we're going back to the area Saito grew up in, an area where she was abused, she was treated like shit, and she had horrible memories of it. We're looking at her childhood as she goes back because her father is dying, and she was expecting to feel angry and all that, but one look at him at his deathbed, and she just felt everything disappeared. It's because she can finally see he's actually dying, and all the anger and everything he'd done to her, it just disappeared, really. She had nothing left to say to him, and she just left without saying that much. Now, the one thing she always wanted was just to live a normal life. She broke herself so many times because she couldn't feel the way others could, and she has left us so many marks because of it. And the one thing that absolutely made it the best part so far was we get to see her high school bully again, and basically Saito beat the shit out of her, which was one of the most satisfying moments to look at. Honestly, I just felt so satisfied looking at it. I was happy that she done it, and now we're just looking at the after effects with it, which I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. On a personal level, this series has hit me with moments that I have not personally felt, but personally understand, as this has shown elements that I personally went through that, well, of course, not life-threatening, but I relate to feeling the pain that I was different from others. I find that manga that covers this type of mental health scenarios like this to be something special, and I'm glad to read it in any type of mood. Even though this manga is not fully translated yet, I still find it exciting when there's a new chapter to read, and it will literally make my day. I've also seen foreshadowing to how this will end, which could be saying I'm not ready to finish this series, and I know for sure it will 100% break me. This series I do think needs to have more attention, as it represents something that not everyone understands, but needs to be aware of how others struggle with mental health disabilities, and maybe it could change someone's life for the better. It's definitely not a series for everyone, of course, but it's something for those who can tolerate events this manga explores, and those who can relate to the characters. It's a deep manga about mental health, but it's a series that knows how to respond to that mental health and explain what certain mental and disability needs to be interacted. Back to the start where I was talking about the message, I just see it as a message of hope. A sign that if you can find that right person, it will change your life for the good, in which I hope everyone can find. Thank you for watching this video, I really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you are interested in this series. And if so, why don't you join my Discord, we can have a nice chat about it. And yeah, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and sayonara.